Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Karunia Nafilatul Janah, and here I would like to present and discuss a paper entitled Utilization of Pragmastylistics Strategies in Learning Context for Communicating Global Peace. It is a paper written by Bapak Janah Hadi. Okay, proceed to the next slide, which is table of content. So this is the table, the content of the paper and also the content of these presentations, which are introduction, literature review, research questions, methodology, findings, and the last is conclusions and recommendation. Okay, we proceed to the next slide, which is introductions. Our country, or Indonesia, is one country with a multicultural society. It means that Indonesian society made up of diverse culture, religion, customs, language that is spread out throughout Indonesia. That's why it is called a multicultural society. These conditions of the multicultural society with diverse differences in it would be very vulnerable to conflict, and peaceful behavior is also possible to establish the ability to deal with the potential conflicts in the vicinity. That's why this differences is a beautiful gift for us that is also that is also encouraged to be protected by peace, and the establishment of personal behavior or peace can be done through education. So through education is one way to establish peace. The practical of peace education can be realized through various aspects such as the strategy or learning methods, media, learning materials, evaluation model of learning, or through speech or linguistic strategies when communicating with learners. And one of linguistic strategies that discusses the use of strategies and styles as the intersection of speech is pragmastylistic strategies. Therefore, in this paper, the author tried to use or to present or to explain linguistic strategies, which are pragmastylistic strategies that can be used to make peace or to communicating global peace, and it is done through education. Next point is the literature review. So here the author have two points in this part, which are peace and education, and the second is pragmastylistics. For peace and education, it is necessary that a high public awareness about the importance of living in harmony in peace. And one effort is through education that is considered effective to instill the awareness of peace. And here I also present 3 points that the author write in the paper about peace and education. You can read it in the screen. And the next is pragmastylistics. So pragmatics refers to the use of language in the context of the situations, while the stylistic language refers to the use of words in a speech. In a study of the stylistic language is closely associated with the style. So the author explained pragmatics and also stylistics in the literature review. I also present 3 points as the explanation of pragmastylistic in the screen. Okay, next is research questions. So there are 2 research questions in this paper, which are the first, how does stylistics components that can be used by teachers in the context of learning for encouraging peace, and the second is how does pragmatics component that can be used by teachers in the context of learning for encouraging peace. Next is the methodology. So the author used qualitative methods to in this research, which is using a case study, and this case study produced descriptive data. Okay, next is findings. There are 2 findings in this research. The first is stylistic components and also pragmatic components. And for the stylistics components, there are some points which are epitheosis, parallelism, prolepsis, simile, chiasmus, and the last is positive phrases versus negative phrases. And for pragmatics components, there are 3 points which are assertive, directive, and expressive. Okay, next. First finding is stylistic components. The first point is epitheosis. So epitheosis is the repetition of words, phrases, clauses, or sentences directly. And repetition has several uses, which are to affirm, to strengthen the intensity of information, to avoid mistakes, and to make it easier to remember the information. We come to the examples of epitheosis in stylistic components. There are 3 examples there. First is peace, peace, peace. And the second is reconcile your school, reconcile your community, reconcile your country, reconcile your world. And third is peace is happiness, peace is happiness, peace is happiness. So as we can see from the example, the repetitions in the first example is in the word peace. So the word peace is repeated there. And for the second example, the repetition is in the beginning of the sentence, which is the word reconcile. And for the third, the repetition is in the whole sentence, which is peace is happiness, peace is happiness, peace is happiness. So it is used to strengthen words, phrases, or sentences to be more readily accepted by learners. So repetitions can also be used to avoid errors for the hearers. Okay, the next stylistic component is parallelism. So parallelism shows the meaning of parallel elements in a sentence constructions. It is a figure of speech with the alignment of words or phrases with the same function. Parallelism can be used to condition the interlocutors to choose the thing that seems different but actually literally the same. So it looks different, but actually the meaning are same. So we come to the examples. First, which would you choose, peace or unity first? The next is, are you willing to forgive or to give a second change? And those examples, you can see that the parallelism in the examples in the first example are peace and unity. So it seems different, but actually it has like the same meaning. So peace and unity are positive. So those 2 words have positive impacts to the hearer. And then the second example is, are you willing to forgive or to give a second chance? So forgive and give a second chance looks different, but those 2 words and phrases are actually same or have the same meaning. We can just compare to the next examples, which are, which would you choose, peaceful but poor or war but wealthy? And also, are you willing to forgive or not? So from those 2 examples, we can see that those 2 examples are different with the previous 2 examples, because here peaceful but poor and war but wealthy are different. And also forgive and not forgive are also different. So that's why the previous 2 previous examples are parallelism. So it seems different, but actually they are same, because like the last 2 examples have like a really different meaning or different impact to the hearer. Okay, we come to the next stylistic components, which is prolepsis. Prolepsis or anticipations are the words as if the preceding events. With this figure of speech, the thought was delivered before the event occurs. Prolepsis allow interlocutors accept a designed event so that the designed event into permissive implicit command. The examples are, when you enter the international world, a sense of peace that you have will maintain tolerance to other cultures so that you can adapt wherever you are. And Later, when love of peace has been embedded with you, of course, whenever you are, you will have a lot of relationships that help you achieve your success. So, from those two examples, there are prolepsis markers which are when and also later. So, those two examples are both imaginative thought in interlocutor's mind. Uh, in other words, those two are not real. So, students actually have not entered the international world, and but in their mind, there is a designed event. So that learner must have a sense of peace in order to maintain tolerance. That's why they use when and also later. So it is designed. There is a designed event. And then the next is similar. Similar is a figure of speech of explicit comparison, direct stated comparison to something similar with other things embodied by the words like, same, as if, like, alike, and so on. So similar uses words like, same, as if, like, and so on. So we just go to the examples. There are two examples there, which are imagine the spirit of unity burning inside you, like water gathered drop by drop so that it becomes a lake. And the next is make peace as if we are all brotherhood. So from those two examples, we can see the markers or words that are often used in simile, which are like, and the second example is as if. So from those two examples, we can see that in example 10, it describes the national spirit that is imagined through the simile of water, which gathered drop by drop so it becomes a lake. And then in example 11, it ordered us to make peace as if all brotherhood. So by the feeling that we all are brothers, uh, it it instilled the feeling of caring and belonging to the students because they do not perceive others as enemies. That's why it can be used to encourage peace. And then the next is chiasmus. Chiasmus is a figure of speech in which words, grammatical constructions, or concepts are repeated in reverse order in the same or modified form. So, and it is a formula A, B, B, A. For example, unit for peace or make peace for unity. So, the example contains chiasmus and the pattern is A, B, B, A. So, unite, peace, peace, unite. And so these elements contains the element of peace. That's why the structure is symmetry. So chiasmus has structural symmetry. And the last stylistic components is positive phrase versus negative phrases. To build positive character, we need a positive mental foundations. Language can be a strong foundation in the mental construct. And one way to choose the use of phrase, both positive and negative. Positive and negative phrases are distinguished by the presence or absence of negations. The phrase does not contain negation positive, while negative phrase containing a negation. So, it has a relation with the psychological or mental of language. So, for example, do not fight, not to be split apart. Let us follow the anti-war movement. So from those three examples, the student or the learners will see the negative phrase, not fight, not split apart, and not anti-war. So from those three examples, they will actually receive the word fight, split apart, and war right. So although the phrase containing allegation acceptable, they must think the meaning of the phrases that is the opposite meaning. That's why to make it understood, the students must understand that the meaning is actually positive, or it has actually a positive meaning. but because there are like the use of negative phrases. So to avoid this, it can be done by changing the negative phrase to positive phrase. Because this happens because psychologically the human mind works based on the focus and intensity of the thing focused. That's why in these three examples the focus are negative. So students will focus on the negative phrases. That's why we can change it by the positive phrases. For example, maintaining unity is profitable. You must have a sense of peace. Let us follow the movement pro peace. So from those three examples, the focus is on the positive phrase, like that's why it is easier for the students or the learners to understand, because like the phrase and also the meaning are both positive. However, there are also negative phrases that should be used and positive phrases that should be avoided. For example, while keeping the peace is not easy, it remains possible to realize. And you are a destroyer. So from those two examples, not easy, negative phrases are used, but it is okay because the message is actually positive. And the second is you are a destroyer. So here a destroyer positive, right? But actually the meaning is negative. That's why the positive phrases destroyer there are avoided or should be avoided. That's why that's the negative phrases that should be used and positive phrases that should be avoided for communicating peace. And the next finding is pragmatic components. So here there are three components, 3 points in pragmatic components, and the first is assertive. The speech acts assertive or representative is a speech act that describes matters of external reality that is believed to be native speakers. Assertive speech acts of which are used for stating, suggesting, boasting, complaining, and claiming. Based on the data, there are two types of assertive speech acts that have performative verbs to represent and to advise, which are assertive stating and assertive suggesting. Here we come to the first, assertive stating. This pattern is read as a type of speech acts assertive composed of performative verbs functioning to states. So it is used to state. For example, peace is not a requirement, peace is a necessity. Without peace, we will not comfort, and there will be no unity. And the example is unity can be a source of motivation for peace. Those who have a strong unity that can create the impossible becomes possible. Peace is possible. So those are used to state or to form a statement, and the second example is used to motivate or a motivator statement. And then the next example is the next assertive is assertive suggesting. So this pattern is read as a type of speech acts assertive composed of performative verbs functioning suggest. So it is used to suggest. For example, you should not spend a lot of money for peace. Concern for unity is the main thing. The parties who oppose peace should make us more mature. The more mature in establishing unity. So those are the example of assertive suggesting. And the characteristic of assertive suggesting are the use of modality should not or should be. That's why it is used to express the possibility of a second speaker or hearer of other possibilities that will be open to the possibility given. So the intention of encouraging a hearer gets the repair or improvement of its original condition, or in order to know the right things before doing anything. That's why it is used to suggest peace. And the next is directive. So directive speech acts containing the wish of the speaker to the hearer to do something. Thus speech acts directive is a statement of the speaker's wanted. Performative verbs which belong to the type of directive speech acts including ordering, commanding, requesting, advising, and recommending. And based on the data found, there is only directive with performative verb advising, which is directive advising. So there is only one directive, which is directive advising. And directive advising is read as a type of speech act directive composed of performative verbs whose function is to advise. So it is used to advise. For example, in life there is always a negative person. It's a balance. However, make sure you are part of the plus. You are the positive one to start peace. And the next is having belief that peace is possible. Then a time of peace inevitably arise. So here the characteristic is the presence of imperative sentence or commanding, which is characterized by the imperative verb. In the first example, the phrase is make sure, and the second example, the word having. So those are used to advise. And then we come to the next pragmatic components, which is expressive. Expressive speech is statements that describe what the speaker feels. This speech reflects the speaker's statements against a state psychologically. However, the strategy of linguistic psychological statement that is used to strengthen the motivation interlocutor are arriving or praising. So the use of expressive here is to like praising or complimenting. For example, in expressive stating is, well, you are wonderful that you are willing to support peace and tranquility. So this speech is an expressive speech containing a praise or compliment. It means that the other person will feel valued. With the award, the other person will increase his motivation to encourage peace and tranquility. That's why in this expressive stating there is praise or compliment. And those are the stylistic elements and the pragmatic elements in the finding. And we come to the last part, which is conclusion and recommendation. For the first is conclusions. So here there are three conclusions made by the author. First is language has a strategic role as a medium for shaping the character of peace and increase the motivation to bring peace and unity. The second conclusion is language which has a certain strategy is more permissive and more easily accepted by the minds of students. And the last is the use of pragmastylistic strategy is based on a planning consciously and deliberately to shape the character of the students to be peacemaker or agents of peace. So therefore, we can conclude that the use of pragmastylistic strategy here or linguistic strategy here can be used to make peace or to communicating global peace. That's why the students are encouraged to be peacemaker or agent of peace. And the last is recommendations. The author made three recommendations here for us or for future researchers. The first is the effectiveness of the pragmastylistic strategy in the study. And the second is compare the effectiveness of the strategy in this study with the other of pragmastylistic strategy in different contexts. So because this is a conceptual study or conceptual research, the author recommend the future research to research the effectiveness of the pragmastylistic strategy in the study. So like to practice it, and then to also compare the effectiveness of the strategy in the study with the other pragmastylistic strategy in different contexts that the future researchers may have or may find. And the last is to complete and to enhance the pragmastylistic strategy so as to form a language strategy the most permissive in shaping students as agents of peace. And I think that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for watching these video presentations. I'm so sorry for any mistakes that I make during the presentations. I hope this can be useful for us. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.